Okay, so as a title or whatever says, if I actually title it, since I haven't put a comment yet, I came out today earlier. It's been, time is it? 1:50. About 3 hours and 20 minutes, something like that. So anyway, the disaster was with my bees. Got my bee suit here. I had to put it on today because I messed up big time. I mean, really big time. I have not opened up the beehive or, actually went in and inspected the frames or anything for probably like 6 weeks or so, which is like really long. But it's been so hot, and I didn't want to disturb the bees because they were bringing nectar and stuff in. But it was a little bit cooler today. It was only like 90 degrees today. So I figured I better go ahead and get out here while it's only 90 degrees. Toss this bee suit up here for a minute. So you can see I actually added a box on. But what I did, all I had was that bottom box on. And this is the actual flow hive itself with the frames and stuff, which everybody's seen before. Right? So I took the roof off, cracked open the lid, and then I actually took this whole box off. Well, when I went to take this box off, it weighed a ton. It was probably like 70 pounds or more, and I couldn't even hardly pick it up. So I ended up actually, I think it was the other side because that one has the knob on it, but I actually came around here and took that box and had to lean it up against my belly and carry it over. And I carried it over and I put it on that little white thing right there, which I'm not going to show you real detailed yet, but I put it on that white thing there. And what ended up happening, so I put it there, and I came over and I was starting to, and keep in mind that middle box right there was not on there at that time. So then I started to get into this box down here with the frames, and I heard a noise or whatever, and I looked over, and this top box here had slid off and fell down on the ground right there. See all the bees there? They're not as much as there were, but there's lots of honey and everything just laying on the ground there because what happened is all of these plastic frames that are in here, like every single one of these frames fell out of this box. They all fell out on the box on the ground there. So all the honey that was in them, not all the honey, but a lot of the honey, like just kind of dribbled out on the ground there, and all the bees that were on it. And if you look down here, you can see all the dead bees. There's lots of dead bees everywhere. And most of these are probably ones that I was walking on. I didn't have any choice. I had to get everything back together. So as soon as that fell down there, I ran into the barn over there, or the shed building, and put on that bee suit because I knew they were gonna, they were not happy with me. So I put that on real quick and came back out, and I probably should have picked all those frames up a little quicker. But I was wanting, since I already created a disaster, I decided to go ahead and put this middle box on. So I grabbed this middle box and put it down on the ground right here, and took a couple of frames out of the middle of it. And then the bottom box, I started inspecting it because I wanted to at least see the queen. I had not seen the queen for 6 weeks. So I got about 3 or 4 frames. I started on the left side, went about 3 or 4 frames in and found the queen. So I took the frame that had the queen on it and put it in this new box that was sitting on the ground. And then I took 2 more frames out of that bottom box. One had a little bit more brood on it and maybe some honey or something. So I had 3 frames I ended up putting in this new box towards the middle of it, and then put some new frames back in this. I also, instead of 10 frames in this bottom box, I decided to go ahead and go 9 because they were so tight together. So I did 9 and then just kind of gave space on the left and right side, pushed them together in the middle. And same thing with this one, I did 9 frames. So anyway, once I got that box on there, then I went and took this box, which all the frames had fallen out of, and set it back on top here. And then I went and grabbed each one of these plastic frames, one at a time, picked them up and put them in here and got it all back in there again. You can see all these. Remember how there actually was some honey at the end of this? There's no honey at the end of this now. That really sucks. I mean, I lost so much honey. But, you know, it is what it is. I still didn't do everything that I really had planned on coming out and doing. But since I had created so much stress and killed so many bees, just really sad. You can see all of the bees here. I put these 2 boards here to give the bees something to kind of walk back up on, you know, to get back up into the hive. You can see where there's some honey dripped out on that vinyl box where I had set the flow hive. And must have been some honey that dripped down there too, because you can see the cluster of bees. I'm assuming the cluster of bees here and there are because they're eating up that honey. Some of these don't even look alive. So I'm hoping a lot of these bees end up going back inside. You know, I gave them a little bit of a pathway to get back up there. So yeah, disaster, big time. I definitely screwed that up. But I did learn that the reason this box was so freaking heavy was because it was loaded with honey. And I've shown this several times where there really was a little nectar, but there really, you know, you couldn't really see much as far as honey. And you couldn't see much as far as honey on the ends there either. Now I'll rearrange these frames when I put them back in. So what you're going to look at is one of the frames that was really more towards the middle here somewhere. It was like right around here, somewhere around here. Like I took one of those frames and put it on the end here. And you can see what I'm talking about as far as the honey. Well, it's really fogged up in there too. They have all that honey is capped. They already have wax cappings all over it. The thing is loaded with honey. But I have no idea what's going to happen. They'll probably end up eating a lot of this honey and not capping it off, which is going to be, you know, I just totally messed myself up there. Lessons learned. That was kind of a, I won't say expensive lesson, but it was a rough lesson. And I ended up sweating my bejeebers off in this suit. Big time. I mean, when I took this thing off, I thought I actually had stepped in air conditioning. It was still 90 plus degrees outside, but well, this is inside my building. So I've had my little bit of storage here with some extra frames and stuff. Same thing over here. But I'm just gonna hang my bee suit in here. So yeah. That's pretty much it. I gotta watch where I'm walking because there's still bees all over the ground eating the honey up. There's nowhere near as many bees on the front there. They're still coming in and out though. Every once in a while you see, there's another one flying in. So they're still out collecting nectar and course, the ones that were out getting nectar didn't go through the trauma like all the ones that were here. But there has to be hundreds of them there. Probably a good 300 to 500 bees laying on the ground. And I don't know how many I ended up killing. So anyway, sad face. I'm really sad. I suck. But looking forward to getting some honey out of that though, now that I know that they filled it up. I'll probably wait at least another week or two before I even think about trying to draw any honey off of it, see how they're doing. That's it. You guys hadn't seen an updated bee video, and the reason why is because I hadn't really been out here doing a whole lot other than coming out and just kind of checking on them. But today was definitely a disaster.